Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo and the birthday boy El Comandante. Happy birthday, my friend. It is actually today. So leave
Thank you.
those happy birthday wishes for El Comandante. Turning
And happy
21,
Father's Day
finally
to
old
all the
enough to get,
dads out there.
and happy Father's Day to all the dads. So double celebration. El Comandante's finally 21. He'll finally have that first beer. So he's looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Thank you.
looking forward to, you got it. We're looking forward to, kind of looking forward to Night of Champions. I keep wanting to call it King of the
Yeah.
Ring. King and Queen of
I
the Ring,
know.
Night of Champions, which is a week from yesterday. It'll be next Saturday, coming to us from Saudi Arabia. Remember, early start time next week, everyone. It's like, 12 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Eastern.
11
1 p.m.
10
Eastern.
Pacific.
10 Pacific. So early start time for that one. And essentially, this week was just kind of wrapping up the semifinals for King and Queen of the Ring. So we'll dive right into Monday Night Raw. Big D, take us through that.
Yeah. So started out with Roman Reigns gifting Jacob Fatu and Ulafala and welcomed him officially to the bloodline, to Jay's surprise, apparently, because he was kind of upset about it. But, of course, they respect the decision. I love how what's it called? Jacob has been very to his word, right? Like he says, I made an agreement and I'm honoring it. Cause I remember on SmackDown last week how he was telling Solo that he needs to, Roman sent him, and Solo tried to make him second guess himself, and he's just straight hey, I agreed to this. I know what I'm doing. I got this. It is what it is, right? So they did that, and then they actually had a segment, because of course there's a new Netflix movie coming out. I don't know if it's a Netflix. Is it a Netflix movie with Eric Andre and John Cena? So of course Eric Andre is ringside.
I think it's Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's Netflix. It's
Yeah,
Netflix.
I'm pretty sure
it's on one of the streaming services. I think it's
yeah,
Netflix.
y'all correct me on the comments, please, because I kind of saw the trailer for it and I was kind of But anywho, I guess he was excited to see everybody there because he was ringside, and he was messing with the Ulafala that Jacob just got, and Jacob just beat the hell out of him in the ring. And Roman stopped him, showing that he can control him, and told him to go ahead and give him the splash. He did, and then he told him to do it again, and he did it again. That was just for the movie and for the Ulafala celebration. So that was
yeah,
really
that whole thing was a little silly, and I think the whole segment went on 30 minutes.
It went on for a long time.
It was a
to
long
end
segment.
that. That's why I was kind of disappointed in it, because I'm it could have been something else. It could have been much bigger. I think it was fine the way it ended, but then they added the Eric Andre bit at the end, and I'm just okay.
Well, and the Eric Andre bit was kind of weird to me too, because they were promoting and teasing, and they showed the movie with Eric Andre and John Cena, and then I was surprised that Roman Reigns greenlit the attack on Eric Andre, because those two work together on the Street Fighter movie, which they completely have glossed over, because they're both in the Street Fighter movie. Obviously, Roman Reigns is playing Akuma, and then Eric Andre is playing the announcer character. And so
Dan,
I'm
I think.
wait a minute.
Yeah, not Dan.
not Dan, but yeah, he's the guy who's in the background of Balrogs. So he's playing the announcer. And I'm thinking, okay, you two are technically castmates, so you should have some sort of a relationship from working on the Street Fighter the Street Fighter movie very recently. And then he greenlets him getting beat up, and then kind of glossed over that. So that was kind of odd. But this was just more to set that up, and it took about 33 minutes, I want to say, of the show. So from the beginning segment down to Eric Andre's beat down was very long.
Yeah, it was. It took a big chunk of the beginning of the show, and really no payoff after that. It's not like Eric Andre's all of a sudden going to wrestle Jacob Fatu. I mean, that's not going to happen.
Exactly. So, that's pretty much good. I don't see this continuing into next week, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe.
But I get it. They're trying to build how Roman has control over Jacob now, and Jacob listens to him. I get it. Yeah. So after that, we had a Queen of the Ring semifinal match: Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez, and Io Sky walks away with the victory there. She did come up. She hit a powerbomb and then an over the moonsault combination to advance to the final. So congratulations to her. That was awesome.
Yeah, clean win. Match. It was a really good match. Clean win. I was surprised, because I was half expecting a big Judgment Day intervention to help Raquel win. None of that happened. And I thought we were headed to a showdown between Raquel and Liv in the finals, and that's just off the table now. So it was interesting, but I like Io Sky advancing here. I really wish she would win. I just feel like she's not going to. I feel like,
especially after SmackDown.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that one here in a sec. But I agree with you. I would love to see Io Sky win that Queen of the Ring, because she's most deserving, I feel. After that, we had Seth Rollins challenging Braun Breaker to a steel cage match at Night of Champions, which, yeah, these were back-to-back promos. These were
Mhm.
promos throughout. I just wanted to plug it in here. Roman, they both gave a promo about how Seth said he brought him in, he taught him everything, whatever. Braun Breaker
Yeah.
says that he wasn't what he, it just is eventually it was really done well. Of course, this was more like a just a build for them to have a steel cage stipulation, which I think is great. I think is a good way to do it, but we'll see how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
that became agreed upon during the show. After that, we had Chad Gable versus Rusev, with Rusev, of course, with Ethan Page. It was Chad Gable's actual first match on Raw as himself in
Yeah.
over a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And of course, he tells him pre-match, he was in an interview saying that losing the mask and gaining respect after losing it changed his perspective, and that after he's done with Rusev, he has other people he needs to make amends to. He ended up beating Rusev via submission, which
Mhm.
was interesting. While Ethan Page was at ringside, and then of course when there was the post-match beatdown about to happen, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee came out to help him out. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
this was
interesting.
a really great match. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, Chad Gable's great. He has turned into kind of a midi Kurt Angle at this
Mhm.
point because he finished him with the angle slam and an ankle lock, which are both Kurt
Yeah,
Angle's moves.
yeah,
So, but it was really well done, and obviously to see him hitting the angle slam pretty easily on somebody as big as Rusev was cool, especially since Chad's not that big of a guy. But he's
right.
obviously a powerhouse because he hit Rusev with those German suplexes as well. This is good. This is
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Just a continuation of kind of him aligning himself with the Luchadors in Chad Gable because they did the essentially the hey, let's pay you back for helping us last week rundown
Right.
save between Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio.
Right. And you know what? I appreciate that, they're showing Chad Gable's abilities in the ring instead of like the comedic stuff. Like, yeah, Chad Gable's good on the mic. He's good as a character. He can hold his own. But I like how they're actually letting him wrestle. Like
Yeah.
he's actually
Well, he's a
showcasing like he's
great
strong.
wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
He
he's a
is
great wrestler.
fantastic wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad they're finally showcasing that. Like, good for him. I'm happy with that. After that, you had LA Knight again going at Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. LA Knight was starting. It entered into a little brawl, but Jacob Fatu had to come out and save both of them by
Yeah.
hitting the Tongan death grip on LA Knight. So he just, laid him out, then got out the ring and told him, "Come on, let's go." And they were surprised and followed him. I think this is kind of just adding to the storyline of why Jacob is starting to kind of. I feel like this is like a rinse and repeat of main event Jey Uso, because he became the right hand for Roman, and then there was like
Yeah.
disagreements amongst themselves about the loyalty and all that stuff. Remember when he would say like, "I don't care what the tribal chief said," like all those little things happening, like, so I feel this is like almost like a rinse and repeat of that. But I
Yeah.
like how Jacob is reminding them like, "Hey, come on, like we got business, like stop messing around with him, like we're done with him, like let's keep going." So this was kind of, I don't know what they're going to do from here. This is obviously going to build to some sort of match between Jacob and LA Knight, or one of the Usos in LA Knight, or LA Knight and two
Yeah.
partners. I don't know.
Or yeah, something. Well, and this is where I feel like, gosh, like please stop just humiliating LA Knight because so the whole thing was LA Knight was coming out. He was hot. He was upset about what happened. He
Yeah.
got ripped off. He got the short end of the stick, and then he just gets beat down and humiliated again by the end of this by
Yeah.
everybody. And I thought they were going to pay this off on SmackDown and have
Me
LA
too.
Knight interfere, and then nothing happened. LA Knight
Yeah.
never came down. He never interfered in the SmackDown match. So I was like, okay, what was the point of this? If he was gonna, unless they're going to try to pay it off at King of the Ring, which I don't think will happen. I think something else will
No.
happen when they pay it off at King of the Ring. But this was just LA Knight getting the short end of the stick again, being
Mhm.
made to look weak again. So
Yeah.
I wasn't real happy how they wrapped that segment.
Yeah, same here. I don't know where they're gonna go from here. I don't know what the point of that was. I mean, other than, I don't know. Again, trying to build animosity amongst the group, but it looks like it's just gonna solidify them.
Yeah.
Time will tell. After that, we had our second Queen of the Ring semifinal between Charlotte Flair and Roxanne Perez. And this one, Charlotte Flair, of course, is the victor in this one. She ends up winning by, I want to say she made her tap out. Yeah, she made her tap out. And
Yeah.
so and that was with Liv Morgan in trying to interfere as well. And so this just pushes Charlotte Flair over to the next qualifying match, which was on SmackDown with Liv Morgan. And the whole goal was for Roxanne to soften her up for Liv Morgan. So
Yeah.
this one was okay. It was just more because you knew Judgment Day was only going to have one person involved in the Queen of the Ring, and it was going to be Liv
Yeah.
Morgan. So we kind of figured Roxanne was going to take the loss on this one.
Yeah, and this one was like, okay, they're going to soften up Charlotte Flair, but they made the story about Charlotte Flair had like a damaged hand because she hit her hand into
Mhm.
like the steel post, and then they got targeted the whole match. But then the damaged hand was nowhere to be found on SmackDown. It said it was a damaged knee.
I know. Well, it was her for real life damaged knee.
Yeah, her for real life damaged knee. But it was like, oh, wait a second, you completely abandoned. But it still, the factor was Charlotte Flair, got injured. She was heading into this beat up and she had a nagging injury that got targeted the entire time. It was just instead of being the hand, it was her actual real life knee that has had injuries before. So
Yeah.
they did like a weird switch there. But this was to set up, she's going to be hurt for the next match. And they did a similar thing with Javon Evans too.
Yeah, because Javon Evans came out and was interrupted, of course, by the division with Logan Paul making his surprise return in a full arm brace because obviously he had surgery on his triceps, so he can't really use it right now. Pitching to Javon Evans to join the Vision. Then they weren't asking, they were telling him. And I'm like, man, y'all been getting beat every week and you really think he's going to take you serious? So, of course, he rejected. That led to a match between Javon Evans and Austin Theory. And that actually ended in DQ because Braun Breaker speared him in midair when he was going for the OG, which actually looked really good. That was
it looked great.
Phenomenal timing. Like Braun Breaker is like the king of timing. I swear to God, like his timing is impeccable. Like the way he got that timed out, he hit Javon Evans when Javon Evans was going for the OG cutter to finish off Austin Theory. It looked like it was going to be over, and Braun Breaker comes in at perfect time and just nails him with the spear midair. Street Profits come out. Well, the Street Profits music hits because there's the post-match beatdown now. And you have Montez Ford come out and he like goes over to the side. And I thought he was going to have Seth Rollins come out because they've been partnering up. But it was a returning D'Angelo Dawkins coming out. So that kind of he got a really good pop for returning from injury and they cleared the ring. Yeah. So, I mean, now we're probably going to see the Street Profits eventually challenge for those tag titles and hopefully taking them off of the Vision because I never seen the Vision as a legit tag champion. So they go to the Street
I
Profits.
would agree. Hopefully they do, but I think it's harder because now you have Braun Breaker as the tag team champion versus it being Logan Paul, which means Austin Theory's going to take the pin.
Yeah.
When that match happens, Austin Theory's getting pinned.
Which is a shame.
Which totally is a shame. But it's kind of considering the position that they're in, it's probably that's going to happen. And then the story of this was Javon Evans' ribs are injured heading into the King of the Ring semifinal. And it was like, okay, so now you've already injured two people heading in. So they really telegraphed where they were going to go with this. And we'll talk more about that when we get, because the SmackDown matches and the SmackDown finals were really copy paste in terms of they're injured, they're trying to overcome, they weren't able to overcome. So that was a bit of a bummer too. It felt a little telegraphed. But we still had the main event, Obafemi versus Dominic Mysterio, though.
Yeah, which was hilarious because before it, you had Liv Morgan trying to flirt her way to convince Danhausen to curse Obafemi, and he just kind of blew her off, which was great. I loved it. And then,
he needs human monies to do that. He's not going to do that with flirting.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Dom and JD McDonough went with some stacks of money, and they're like, yeah, I just need you to curse somebody. He's like, okay, yeah, sure. Who? They said Obafemi, and he's like, nope, not doing it. He's like, bye. He's like, I'm gonna keep your money though. And then before you know it, like they panned over to them, and then they came back, and he was gone with the money. So they got gypped, which was awesome. So after that, so of course you had Dominic Mysterio going at Obafemi. No surprise here, Obafemi is moving forward in the King of the Ring tournament, making it very interesting considering who won on SmackDown. But again, this was really like it took up the last 18 minutes of the show.
And the match didn't take up that much because the started entrances is 12 minutes left, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a short match. And then after the entrances, there was 8 minutes left, and it was like, all right. By the time they actually started, there was 8 minutes left in the show, and then Dom ran for the first 2.5 minutes. It was him running away, sliding out of the ring. The actual match was very short, and it was like basically a squash match with a lot of attempted at cheating the whole time. But like you said, like unless Lesnar was going to come down and interfere, you knew Obafemi was going to win. So I was kind of waiting because the match was so short. I was like, is Lesnar going to come out and like help? And that's why the match is so short. And Lesnar was nowhere to be found. And
I would have been so happy. I would have accepted it if they would have done a copy paste of like when he was doing his entrance pose and Brock Lesnar jumps him before the bell and hits him with all the F5s, and then Dom takes advantage, right? Like I would have been cool with that. Like that would have been fine. Made sense to me. Yeah, Obafemi is moving on, which we'll talk about King of the Ring in a bit because that's
Well,
gonna
and
be
he cut a promo on Lesnar. Was like, I thought you were going to come out today if you
yeah,
were going to do it, which means he's going to be there at King of the Ring. Like
exactly.
that's all that means. And
Yeah,
this is where I'm like, oh no, like so he's going to stop Obafemi from winning, which means spoiler alert,
Jey
Jey
Uso.
Uso is going to win, and like the worst. That this is just for me cringe on so many levels because I don't want to see Jey Uso win King of the Ring. But that's the only way you do it. That's the only way you can make it happen. And of course, they're going to bring out Lesnar for the show in Saudi Arabia. Of course, they're going to. So
Mhm.
the it's just
The Prince
disappointing. And of
is a
course,
known fan of the older wrestling generation, and Brock Lesnar
yeah.
is a big part of that. So naturally, he's gonna be happy to
Well,
have Brock Lesnar on the
and
show.
naturally, they can't have Obafemi tied up for a title shot at SummerSlam because he needs to face Lesnar at SummerSlam because that's going to
Mhm.
be in Lesnar's hometown. So it's like this is so telegraphed. There will be no surprise when it happens now.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
that was Raw.
that was it. That was Raw. SmackDown. Opening match on SmackDown, surprisingly, was Gunther versus Cody for the WWE Championship with Sami Zayn as a special guest referee. I thought that was going to be the closing match.
Me
So when
too,
they
because it's
started with
commercial
that,
free.
yeah, they're like commercial free. And then it was like, and then it started, and I was like, wait, you're kicking off with this, which I was like, no, that means Cody's going to retain. Like, there's
Mhm.
no way that Cody's going to lose if you're kicking off with that and they're going to build something to it. And this was one of those things where I was not real happy with how they had this play out because they did, you had initially Sammy kind of calling it down the middle and he was doing the right thing. And then you ended
Yeah.
up with the scenario with the foot under the ropes, but Sammy saw it, correctly stopped the count. And then Cody got mad at Sammy for correctly stopping the count. And then he hit Sammy, which which is a very heel thing to do. Made no sense. Could have been disqualified right there. But then Sammy pushed him. Gunther locked in the choke on Cody. And then Cody got to the ropes to break the hold. And then Sammy had to rip Gunther off because he was still calling down in the middle. And then Gunther scuffled with Sammy,
Yeah,
and then
like, that's the ref
powerbombed
you
Sammy.
chose,
This
bro.
made no sense. This is what's
Yeah.
stupid about this. This made no sense. You talk about the ring general Gunther being this great tactician and being one or two steps ahead of everybody. And then he attacked the guy who is his special referee in his pocket and completely blew that advantage immediately, which was crazy. And so then you basically had Cody got the upper hand, hit the super cutter and a crossroads. A new ref ran out. Gunther kicked out. He hit a shotgun dropkick and a powerbomb, was about to win. And then Sammy pulled the new ref out and cheated. And then Sammy helped Cody get a roll up and then fast counted him for the win. This was the dumbest ending that I could possibly think of, where you have Gunther completely self destruct immediately in the match, blow his advantage, and then Sammy cheated for Cody to win. Absolutely stupid. Hated everything about this. It felt like a waste of the buildup they had done for a few weeks on it to say, hey, we're going to, what's the stipulation going to be? You'll find out next week. Oh, it's going to be Sammy. There's no way that Cody can beat the odds on this because he's completely alienated Sammy. To have Gunther completely blow his advantage, I could not stand this. But what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I try, as folks may have already caught on, I really tried to understand the story behind it and what we're trying to, but I had said before, and I will stay true to this. I had said before that Night of Champions was going to be a triple threat
Yeah.
between Sami Zayn, Gunther, and Cody Rhodes. When Sami Zayn was named the special referee, I figured this is the opportunity to make it a triple threat. And
Yeah.
that's why they did that. So to me, logically, it makes sense to get there, right? Like, you have to have Sami Zayn screw both of them over, but it just sucks that they try to do it in one match, in one segment where he messes both of them over, right? And
Yeah.
the temper tantrum he threw backstage, where he was like, "No, no, no, I'm not. I was the official. There's no restart." Because when Cody was asking for a restart of the match, he was like, no, I'm the referee. I already said that. And I'm like, dude, you're a wrestler. Like, shut up. Like, Nick, all this overrides you, dude. Like, what are you doing? And so they're like,
because that's what's ridiculous about this, because we went to commercial and then after that they're all fighting backstage and then they restarted the match. And this is where I was like, okay. So they went and they restarted the match and then Cody just marched down and then a new official came out and like, we're doing it again. And it was like, okay. They traded sleeper hold attempts. Sammy ran out and hit a haluva kick on Gunther and got Cody DQ'd, then hit the ref with the title. Then Cody tried to stop him and hit Cody with the title. And then he left. And so we spent like 43 minutes on two matches. The second one where Sammy just went out there and got him DQ'd again. Like, everything about it was, for me, just turned into this wild mess that
it was very convoluted
of
for
two
sure.
matches.
I
It
don't.
was very
Yeah.
convoluted. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and of course, like after that, who is Sammy talking to? Johnny
Yeah.
Gargano, and so he's
Yeah.
saying he's the last,
It's like, can we
the real last.
please stop the Johnny Gargano thing with him like comatose being brought in? Like the crowd didn't even react to Johnny
No,
Gargano anymore. Like at least before you get like a laugh. Now it's like, yeah, like they're just like everyone's listening and they pan over and you see Johnny Gargano laying there comatose, which means his wife dresses him, puts his body on a cart, rolls him down to the arena every show, lays him out somewhere backstage on top of a silly piece of equipment in a hilarious way, and then goes, Johnny, why are you like this? Like that's what you're saying every single week is happening.
why do I have a feeling? Why do I have an inkling that Johnny Gargano is going to help Sami Zayn and Night of Champions?
I mean, they would have to because yeah, this whole thing built to okay, it's a triple threat at Night of Champions. It's going to be a triple threat: Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and Sami Zayn. I hope we pay off something on this. Like at least make Sami the champion. If you're going to do all of this stuff,
He
and
would get a
at
big
least
pop
have
in Saudi.
something. Yeah,
He would get a lot.
he
He would
would.
get a big pop in Saudi.
But we'll see. I mean, again, this felt really
And
convoluted.
that was just
We
the
spent
first match.
yeah, like this thing felt so convoluted. It took up a massive amount of time of the show.
Their whole hour of commercial free is
Yeah,
to this.
was invested on this, which is all strange. After this, you had Jacob and Solo backstage. Jacob still trying to convince Solo to come back into the fold, and Jacob said that he's there to stop anyone getting involved in Jay's match, so don't get involved in Jay's match. And then you had Tama and Tala Tonga basically telling Solo they don't want any of Solo's family problems and stay out in the back, don't come down ringside for our match, essentially. And that was the next match: R-Truth and Damian Priest versus Tala and Tama Tonga for the tag titles. It was a fine match, but of course Solo couldn't help himself, and he showed up at ringside against their wishes and caused enough of a distraction for his guys that allowed a surprise roll-up win for R-Truth, I believe. So
Yeah. Truth got the
it
pin.
basically was like both of the first two matches ended with interference resulting in a surprise roll-up, technically, because we had a surprise roll-up fast count in the first match, surprise roll-up in this one. Again, very unoriginal, didn't, seemed kind of silly. This is more the continuation of the MFTs breaking up with Solo Sikoa, which tells me, are they going to just abandon him? And is he going to go back to Roman now and be part of the new bloodline? Which also feels a little convoluted to me, considering all the history everyone has. But it certainly seems like they're building to that.
Yeah, it does. And you kind of had inklings too with Tama talking to Shinsuke and Finn Balor. Now that Finn Balor is on SmackDown, which I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a faction between all of them, like a revived Bullet Club. Would be really cool. But yeah, as far as Solo goes, I have a feeling this is going to be just to get him back into the bloodline again. Maybe reluctantly, but we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. And then we had Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints again for the number one contender to the U.S. Championship. The winner is going to face Trick Williams at Night of Champions. And this one was a really good match, as always, between Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints. They're both great. Ending was a little weird for me, though, because essentially what happened is at one point, the top turnbuckle inadvertently got ripped off. And then you had Ricky knocked Carmelo backwards, and he clearly hit his upper back into the turnbuckle, but they're like, oh, he hit the back of his head on the turnbuckle, on the exposed turnbuckle. And I'm like, no, he didn't. He clearly hit his upper back, but hitting his upper back on a little ring was enough to completely knock him for a loop and knock him unconscious. And then Ricky got the pin. So we had 3 controversial ends for all 3 matches at this point. It's fine. We're going to get Ricky Saints versus Trick Williams for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah, Trick Williams will retain.
Again, and Trick Williams will totally retain, as well he should. But this is another, they keep doing, sketchy finishes between Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints to try to keep everyone to save face. You can't do that every single time. And this one felt like a little bit of the stretch with the way that it was executed. Yeah. But the match itself was good up until the end.
I agree. This one was okay. It started out great, but that ending was just... And once you see it happen, it's kind of like, we already know it's coming. We're just like,
yeah,
it's
too obvious.
But it should be good. I'm glad Ricky Saints is getting pushed a little bit here. He is a great talent. I mean, not to take anything away from him. He is great. I mean, that's why they put on a great match. I mean, they're just great wrestlers, and so it's going to be. It should be an entertaining match at the very least. So
it should. And then we closed out the night with the 2 qualifiers. So first one was Jey Uso versus Javon Evans for a spot in the King of the Ring finals to face Obafemi. Story of this match was Javon Evans damaged ribs from Monday night. And, basically this telegraphed that he was going to lose because, hey, he's injured and he's going to fight the good fight. It was a really great match, of course, because Javon Evans is really great. He pretty much did all the heavy lifting in this one. Jay was okay, but it was mostly Javon Evans spots that were really, really great. He hit a very cool Spanish fly at one point. During the break, he did this leap across through the air, knocking them both over the barricade that we just had to see. And like, oh, by the way, this happened during the commercial break, which it was freaking awesome. But of course, we didn't get to see it live because they have too many commercial breaks. And this was one of those.
To make for that first hour, man.
Gotta make up for it. Jay hit the spear and the Uso splash, which are both rib targeted finishers, and so you kind of knew this was going to happen. And Jay won clean, but controversially in the sense that Javon was injured. What was he supposed to do? But he didn't have any interference from the bloodline, no interference from LA Knight, which I thought was going to happen the way that they had teased it on Monday night, which sets up Obafemi versus Jey Uso, which almost certainly will end, from my perspective, with Jey Uso winning due to interference from Brock Lesnar. I'm assuming it'll probably happen during like you said, during the entrance for Obafemi. He's going to probably attack him and soften him up for Jay, and that's going to allow Jay to win. And you might see LA Knight come down for more shenanigans during that one.
I'm about to say LA Knight would probably come out too, but then the bloodline's going to come. It's going to be an interference fest.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, which will absolutely mar the match. But it's the only way that you can try to keep somebody like Obafemi down is you have to involve like 50 people.
That's the downside to building a monster like that. Like that's the only downside to it, is that you need to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at him to take him down, which is fine. It protects the character, protects the gimmick. I get it. I appreciate it. But I just let him win. I would love to
let him win. Well, but I think it will. I think the whole event's going to be a lot of stuff like that too, because I feel like in the cage match between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, I think we'll
probably have a ton of interference too.
All right, so after fixing those technical difficulties, you all will see it online. It'll look seamless, seamless, right? All right, so the magic of podcasting, right on. So basically, Queen of the Ring qualifier was our final match of the night: Charlotte versus Liv Morgan. And much like the men's story, this was about a knee injury hampering Charlotte the entire time. So just like the rib injury hampered Javon,
of course,
the knee injury hampered Charlotte, because we want everyone to save face and nobody can just lose clean anymore. And essentially, it was just Liv targeting the knee the whole time. The match was okay. It was Liv targeting the knee the whole time. And then she won with a half Boston Crab that she kept locking in on the injured knee, just like Jay hitting his finishers on Evans' ribs. So she eventually, after like pulling the half Boston Crab and really laying into it, and then pulling her across the ring, get to the ropes, do it again, Charlotte just couldn't handle it anymore, and then finally tapped out. So this for me kind of marked every match had a lame finish on SmackDown. Every match had a controversial finish. Every match had either it was an injury that plagued somebody or it was a fast roll up. But you have Liv Morgan now advancing. So it's going to be Liv Morgan versus Io Sky at Queen of the Ring. Does this mean Liv Morgan's going to take it like inexplicably? I hope not too, because then she's going to face off against the Rhea Ripley, women's champion. Like that doesn't make a ton of sense for me for her to go for both world titles.
I could see it because Rhea and her have history together, right? So, I mean, there's that aspect, right? But I don't want to see her win it just because I feel like Io's a little more deserving. I mean, Liv's already a champion. That's my biggest gripe about it, is that she's already a champion. Like what does that say to your women's locker room when you have one person holding both titles? Like the reason you created 2 championship titles was because you have a surplus of amazing female talent in the locker room. And if you're just putting everything on one girl, it's like, why even bother having the other title? But I mean, I don't know.
Well, and why do that? And then why also let her win? So it would be Queen of the Ring. She wins Queen of the Ring. She's the world champion, and then she becomes a WWE champion. Like you said, you're taking away all these great opportunities and accolades from others just to pile them all onto Liv Morgan. And it's not exactly like Liv Morgan needs the extra shine. I mean, she's a huge star and she's doing well. She doesn't need all this extra emphasis.
She has a music video to push.
I know, right? Gosh. And meanwhile, poor Bailey can't catch a break,
Yeah.
and isn't getting the opportunity to showcase anything, and has essentially just become a glorified jobber for everyone. So this just seems odd. The only thing that would make sense to me, and it would feel a little bit rushed, but I'm sure I think there's a possibility here, is if you have Raquel interfere and beat up Liv Morgan and attack her
Oh, like the
and cost
turn.
it. Yeah, and you have that turn because they've been teasing that, like they have a bit of a contentious relationship. So, and it almost becomes like, here's a surprise that Raquel turns on her and beats her up, and then they do a program with her versus Raquel. Possibly, but who knows? It's probably more likely Liv ends up winning at Queen of the Ring.
I hope not. I honestly, I'm still, part of me still hopes Io Sky will walk away with this. I'm hoping because, I mean, Liv is good. She is.
Yeah.
She is. Io's better. As far as
Io's
wrestling's concerned,
much better.
Io's way better. Yeah. Io's way better and more deserving. But
for my money,
what
Io
do
Sky
I know, right?
The best wrestler in the women's division. Like for my money, I really do think so. I think she's the best women's wrestler right now.
Agree. Wholeheartedly.
And I absolutely love Io. And isn't Liv the reigning Queen of the Ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's like, she won last year, so I don't know why they would continue and have her win back-to-back years. It doesn't seem like it makes a ton of sense to me, but
then again, what storylines do make sense now?
I know a lot of stuff doesn't make sense to me these days. But that's it. That's our setup for Night of Champions, everyone. All the matches are essentially made. Again, coming to you next Saturday. So we'll be back to recap and see all the shenanigans. But I'm feeling like we've pretty much got it figured out at this point of who's going to win.
I'm not looking forward to that, but we'll see. I mean,
we'll see.
It's a Saudi show. Anything can happen. To be honest with you, anything can happen in the Saudi show. For all we know, Trish Stratus is going to randomly show up and like beat down Liv Morgan. I don't know, right? Like, I don't. Yeah, Lita's going to come out. I don't know.
They spend a lot of money, so there's generally a lot of star power. So, like you said, you never know. We could have the return of Randy Orton, and he comes out and just starts beating people down wildly. You never know. John Cena could make an appearance. They tend to spend a lot of money on these shows, but I will say for sure we're going to see Lesnar. We will see Lesnar there.
Yeah.
In the Obafemi match, that feels like a lock.
Especially because he called him out. He literally called him out.
So. Yeah, and he's been calling him out every single week, so it would be odd if it didn't happen. And they've teased it so much that they're going to do the.
Or is he going to do what John Cena did that one WrestleMania when he was calling out the Undertaker all the way up until the show, and he was sitting in the crowd and the music hit, and then he got into the ring. So
and he gets in the ring. Yeah, I mean we'll see, but I feel like we'll see Lesnar go after Femi. But yeah. Tune in next week, everybody. We'll find out. We'll be here to talk about it. So that's what we got. Until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been El Comandante Daryl Ortiz. Happy Father's Day, everyone.